At 6 years old, he shot a slingshot at the sky, and the sky answered with fire. Hello, friends. Welcome to DeepdiveX Recap. Today, we dive into a film based on the true story of World War II's youngest warrior, Soldier Boy. Proceed with care. The film opens on a quiet riverbank in rural Russia. A family of three sits in the late light: mother, older brother, and the smallest of them, Sergei Lyashkov. Sergei, all bravado and scraped knees, brags about climbing the tallest tree in the village. He's a kid who thinks the world is still his playground. Then the sky rips. German fighter planes scream across the horizon. Panic. The mother tells the children to hide in the bushes. The 6-year-old, stubborn and fearless, lifts his slingshot and fires. Against every sense of reason, the stone finds metal. A plane shudders, a flare of smoke, and then an impossible explosion. When Sergei blinks, his family is gone. It was a dream that tastes like ash. He jerks awake, calling for his mother, voice thin with fear. Then a knock at the door. He runs, hoping, but the woman from next door bursts in, breathless and terrified. She says the word that freezes him. His mother and brother are dead. He tries to understand. He wants to stay where she tells him to wait. He can't yet hold the truth. Footsteps thunder. Soldiers are on the road. The neighbor shoves Sergei through a window, telling him to run. And the moment she turns, a bullet takes her. She falls. Sergei slips into the night alone. Behind him, the village burns. He screams for his mother until his voice is empty. He runs into the woods, small feet pounding through underbrush, the world reduced to smoke and hunger. That night, he curls up under the trees and calls for the one person who won't answer. Morning brings more dangers. He drinks raw river water. Enemy soldiers march near. Sergei hides in the roots of a tree, his heart hammering. A snake slides past, but the snake is nothing compared to armed men. The soldiers stop to eat. Their voices are rough, their laughter stranger than comfort. They leave. He grabs their leftovers and eats like a child who has forgotten the taste of safety. 2 days without a proper meal. Exhaustion pins him to the trail. He finds wild berries and eats until his stomach complains. Then a sudden blast behind him throws him off his feet. Dizzy, he begins to hallucinate, imagining someone closing in on him. In the fog of fear and fever, he stands up, chest out, and tells the stranger, whoever it is, that he has a rifle and he is not afraid. He limps forward, then collapses into unconsciousness. When the scene cuts, we're at a Russian army base. Commander Kuznetsov waits with a steady, watchful presence. His patrol returns carrying a small, battered bundle, an injured, thin boy. The men bring him inside. When the child opens his eyes and says his name, Sergei, something in the camp shifts. The soldiers laugh softly, more from disbelief than cruelty. The commander kneels, asks the boy to tell them who he is. The rough men circle, suddenly gentle, a cup of water pressed to his lips, warm food put into his hands. Even the hardest among them falter, softened by the sight of a child in the wreckage of war. This is the fracture point. The night a frightened 6-year-old is plucked from the ash. A nurse named Katya cleans and stitches Sergei's wounds, and she can't help but smile at how the child refuses to be small. He asks her to draw a tank on his belly, because when he grows up, he says, he will be a soldier. Even the wounded men start talking, their voices lighter when he's nearby. Sergei is fascinated by the commander's pistol that hangs from his belt. The commander answers every question the kid can think to ask, and when he removes the bullets, he lets Sergei hold the empty gun. The boy shows off the tank on his stomach and announces he is already a soldier. He heals fast, like a stubborn little thing determined to keep going. Katya pleads with the commander to let Sergei stay with the battalion. The commander refuses. Not safe, he says. He wants to send the boy to an orphanage, but the soldiers have already adopted him. They spend every spare minute with him, bring packages from home, pass around binoculars so he can peer at a world that's suddenly far away. Sergei's laugh takes a weight off their chests. He becomes their talisman. A soldier takes the matter to the commander. The men argue, quietly fierce. They want the boy. The commander remains firm. Then the next day, the front explodes. Men are hurt. The wounded come in by the dozen. A vehicle arrives to take Sergei away to the orphanage. The commander kneels, gives the boy a carved wooden pistol as a keepsake, and tells him the news. Instead of fear, Sergei wraps his arms around the commander and says he's the one who's scared for the commander's safety. The commander's face cracks. He changes his mind. Stay, he says. Stay with us. Be my son. That night, the soldiers dig through trunks and sacks. They find tiny uniforms, boots that must be stuffed, a little cap. They crown him with scraps of pride. In the morning, the commander wakes Sergei, hands him the miniature uniform, and the boy becomes a picture of something the men almost forgot: home. The camp starts calling him Little Soldier Boy. He runs and spins like a real soldier. Then the sky darkens. German planes sweep in. The men move fast and take Sergei to a safe spot while the battle rages. Injuries mount. Sergei refuses to watch from the sidelines. He fetches water, cups pressed to cracked lips. One blinded soldier asks him to read a letter from home. Sergei can't read, but he reads anyway, inventing words, inventing hope. "Your cow is fine," he announces to a man who has never owned a cow. The men laugh, and for a moment the camp is full of life. Katya and the commander exchange stolen glances, two people on opposite sides of grief who haven't found the courage for more. Sergei announces he is the orderly of the battalion and begins to introduce himself as such. When he sees a soldier who didn't come back, the commander shows him how to respect the dead. Take off your hat, bow your head. The boy begs for a task. The commander gives him a mission: deliver the letters. He runs through the camp and completes the job with the serious pride of a small man. He even makes the soldiers dance for him, clapping like children. The next day, Sergei wanders a little farther from the base with the binoculars pressed to his face. He's discovering all the small, dangerous edges of a world the rest of them try to keep at bay. What will he see? He pressed his binoculars to his eyes and saw a leg twitch inside a haystack. He runs back to the camp and yells what he's seen. The men don't believe him at first. Still, they follow. When they cut the hay open, 2 German spies crawl out. They're arrested on the spot. The boy is praised. Small hands and a sharp eye. That night, the commander brings out papers. The adoption is official. He is now the boy's father. Sergei knows the commander likes Katya. To repay the man's kindness, the boy takes him to confess his feelings. They find Katya talking to another man and jump to the wrong conclusion. Hearts bruise, words go unsaid. The base comes under attack again. Sergei throws himself into the chaos, carrying ammo to the front lines until a soldier orders him back. It's too dangerous. On his way to the shed, he finds panic. The phone line to the colonel is dead. A man runs to fix the wires and is hit. Sergei follows. The soldier is dying. Sergei asks how to reconnect the line. He does it. The call goes through. Reinforcements are coming. A 6-year-old just saved a dozen lives. Later, by the river, the commander finally admits what he feels and asks Katya to be Sergei's mother. Her joy is cut short by a messenger. They're being dispatched. The next morning, they climb into trucks with the rest of the unit, Sergei among them. On the road, they hit a minefield. Explosions tear vehicles apart. The commander is hurt. The unit's orderly, the man Sergei loved like an uncle, dies in the blast. Sergei collapses over him, wailing and clinging to the commander. They carry the wounded and press on. At the new base, the commander's superior, the general, meets them, pressed by the boy's spirit and even a guard's banner. The general pins a badge on Sergei, and the boy promises, out loud, to save his country. That night, the base is smashed by another brutal raid. Rubble falls, and the commander is trapped beneath the wreckage. Sergei screams for him and scrabbles at the stones. Soldiers finally pull the commander free. The next morning, Sergei tends to the commander's burned hands. He's no longer a visitor in this band of men. He's one of them. Family is whatever keeps you alive. The regiment moves again. A voiceover tells us the rest. He fought at Stalingrad. He marched into Poland. He became known as the youngest soldier the world had ever seen. Legend, bravery, a boy who grew up faster than any childhood should allow. If you like this recap, subscribe for more videos and leave a like to help the channel out. Thanks.